you wanna bet that I can get you back inside your head before the summer ends and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be, I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats, it's restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love, because you're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
Take a one-way ride, steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to disappear for a night, just to give into the need and leave it all behind.
'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. 'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. You're gonna be a heartbreaker, you're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
Good morning, folks, and welcome to Inside the Numbers. It looks and appears that I have been popped off of Twitter for the hot minute, right? Ooh, look at that little wave. Yeah. Anybody, look, I just tried to shoot it out. Maybe something's wrong with Twitter for the time being. Maybe something's not wrong, and maybe they have finally booted me. Are you guys, is Twitter working for you guys? I'm trying to get out the Periscope. I can't get it out. So,
when I go to your page.
Oh, so Laura, you can access Twitter.
Yeah, when I go to your Twitter,
here it goes.
Says tweets aren't loading right now. Try again, but all it shows is your profile, but nothing.
Yeah, looks like they're about to get me, folks. Looks like they're about to get me.
Not even your likes.
Yeah, guys, I'll be putting it up on Big Data Paul. I just haven't had time to do so. And I started, it's funny. Here's the thing. I just started to tweet about some of the results from the Florida poll. That's the kind of crazy thing. Oh, somebody else said theirs is down too? So okay. All right. Then that makes me feel a little bit better. My muffs are a little messed up here, guys. So is my yes, a little tired today, so I'm not wearing a suit. All right. So I just started to tweet something. Twitter Byron says something is wrong. Twitter's not working for me. Okay. So it's not. All right, that's cool then. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Laura, while we do this. Okay, let me mute. I had to mute you, love, as you know.
Always muting me.
All right, so we got some economic news I want to catch up on this morning. But first and foremost, the Presidential Debate Commission to the rescue for Joe Biden. Okay, so this is the handicap, folks, that we're always talking about, right? Isn't it, or isn't it not? I don't know if you guys saw this, but I got to talk about it. The debate commission, for those of you guys who don't know, the debate commission's job is solely to sponsor debates and to sponsor debates, get the moderator set up, or organize the rules, negotiate on the rules kind of thing. Their job is, not to provide a handicap, but apparently, just like the media, they're doing that now too. So I don't need to blow this statement up. Here, I'll read it to you. The Commission on Presidential Debates sponsors televised debates for the benefit of the American electorate. Last night's debate made clear that the additional structures should be added to the format of the remaining debates to ensure a more orderly discussion of the issues. The CPD will be carefully considering the changes that it will adopt and will announce those measures shortly. Are you ready? The commission is grateful to Chris Wallace for the professionalism and skill he brought to last night's debate and intends to ensure that additional tools to maintain order are in place for the remaining debates. They praised Chris Wallace and thanked Chris Wallace for what was an absolutely embarrassing debate moderation. All right. And they're talking about additional tools. We now know what that is. And that is the C-SPAN guy will be getting a mute button. Because let's face it, folks, the C-SPAN guy is no Chris Wallace. I kind of like him. I'll be honest with you. I like him. I find him to be relatively fair. There's, of course, sometimes things bleed through. But that's the way it is. I mean, it's always going to be that way in the media because it's dominated by leftists. I mean, dominated by leftists, right? But if you praise Chris Wallace after that, I mean, the classy, fair thing and objective thing, if you didn't want to insult him, the classy and fair, objective thing to do would have just been to ignore him and not, we thank everybody who was involved kind of thing. Very generic, right? Without going into, praising somebody who will go down as the most embarrassing debate moderator in the history of presidential debates. I mean, Chris Wallace, because it not just his bias, that's not just that. I mean, Chris Wallace couldn't keep control, and it had nothing to do, with it. Look, for those of you, here's the thing. They want to mute Trump because Trump wouldn't. If you watched the show yesterday, you know what they're really mad about. That was supposed to be an ambush, and Chris Wallace was supposed to help that ambush, and he was going to protect Joe Biden from the big bad Donald Trump, keep Joe Biden from losing his cool the way he did, and save him like he did several times when he was having glitch moments, like when he could not remember the damn name of the Affordable Care Act. I mean, this is what his job was, to make Joe Biden look presidential, to keep him from, because Joe Biden has a temper. Let me let you in all. Let me let all of you in on a little secret about Mr. Decent Joe Biden. He has a horrible temper. He's an ass.
Thank you.
All right. He is. He's not a nice guy. He's nice when he wants to sniff your hair and touch your butt. That's it. That's because look, man.
No,
let's get real. He's a piece of crap. He's nasty to people. He is not a nice guy. And you see it on the debate trail when he gets pushed by somebody who he thinks is too lowly to respond to. Oh, shut up. Go vote for Trump. You lying dog-faced. He calls a woman dog-face. I mean, you lying dog-faced pony soldier. That's the way he is. He's an ass. He's not a nice dude, which is, by the way, what they did not want to show up on Tuesday. And Chris Wallace's job was to stop that. And he didn't. He failed. Now, Trump wouldn't play the game. And I spent 20 minutes criticizing Trump yesterday, and then a little bit more on what are the odds. There are things he absolutely could have and should have and needed to do, and that he didn't. There's plenty to criticize there, but there's no doubt. Review the tape, and I'm not going to play it because I'm not going to give Fox News an ounce of notoriety, not an ounce. They should be ashamed of themselves, and I've told you guys before, they are worse than MSNBC. They're worse than MSNBC. At least MSNBC is true to who they are. Fox is a fraud. There's nothing worse than deception other than like just downright betrayal. And that's actually what they are. They're betrayers. They are, because they're pretending to be something they are not. They're selling to conservative America something they are not. All right. So anyway, back to this. If you review the tape, and again, I'm not showing it only for the simple fact I'm not giving them notoriety. Go back and review the tape. I will give you the play-by-play right now. The first answer was a calm, presidential, rational answer about Amy Coney Barrett. Okay? Then Donald Trump, he handed it to Joe Biden, who responded. All right. And then when it was Donald Trump, it was Donald Trump's second, you could call it question, but second answer, third question. All right. Or third question post. So like same question to the both candidates and then another one to Donald Trump. And on that turn, Joe Biden began to interrupt. He began to interrupt Donald Trump. He interrupted 3 times before Donald Trump returned at him. And then when Joe Biden bit off more than he could chew, Chris Wallace tried to interrupt, and Donald Trump's third segment was cut. And that's when Donald Trump said, all right, okay, so I'm debating you, I guess. This is how it's going to be. Let's rumble. Mm-hmm. That's what he did.
Rightfully so.
That is what happened. Go back and look. So if you didn't like the outrageous debates, Larry Sabato, it's impossible to have a debate with the president in the United States. Cancel all debates. If you don't like it, then blame Joe Biden. He started to interrupt. He is the one who started it. And then Donald Trump would not sit back and play their damn game. He would not allow the ambush. And he said, to hell with, okay, Chris, I guess I'm debating you tonight. Let's rumble. That's what happened. Go back and review it. I'd show it to you if I didn't want to. If I, I would show it. I saw that. I saw that.
Did you?
Yeah. I'd show it to you. It was fun. So I laughed. Some of you guys are funny as hell.
Really funny.
But, I'd show it to you if I didn't, I'm shunning Fox News at this point. Like, I'm not going to help. I'm not going to be on my little show. They're not going to be on my little show. I really think Fox is about done. I really do. They're fighting the inevitable, which is a takeover from other media outlets because they have nothing anymore. The only thing they have right now is money and the establishment and advertisers. But I mean, as far as like they don't have a loyal audience anymore. If you guys ever looked at the YouGov brand index, which is something I used to like about YouGov. Why? Because they're a consumer panel. They're not voter files. They're not voter panels. YouGov is a consumer panel. They shouldn't even be polling political races, frankly. Not unless they have access to voter files eventually and can verify the people as actual registered voters, which they do not. All right. So, I mean, the bottom line is here, they used to do this thing called the brand index. And during 2015 and into 2016, they took a huge hit because the brand index was showing that core Republican groups were not reacting well. They were not reacting well to their attempted they were running interference. That's what I'm trying to say here. They were running interference against Donald Trump, and people didn't like it. And they started to really lose respect and lose viewership. After 2016, when they realized, holy crap, we missed something. We miscalculated. That's when they started kissing Tucker's butt. Mm-hmm. That's when Laura Ingraham got a show. That's when Sean Hannity got moved.
Because they were losing.
Okay? Late night Sean Hannity at one point. They tried. I almost said something bad. They tried to give you, They tried.
Don't do that.
I didn't.
Don't you dare.
They tried to give you a, they were throwing you some crumbs. They were trying to say, okay, we heard it. We heard it.
Bait and switch.
Yeah. We heard it. Okay, we're listening now. Look, we're going to give Tucker Carlson a show. Laura's going to get her own show. And Sean, we're moving him. We're moving him up. No more almost Conan O'Brien for him. They're frauds. Total frauds. And now you're seeing it. Truth is, they're planning for a world after Donald Trump. And they don't really understand, much like the people in the Republican establishment. Even if Donald Trump loses, it's never going back to the way you have set us on a course. You've set us on a course. It's really sad. And they obviously, to circle back to the commission, they don't get it. So the problem was not Chris Wallace, the fake Fox News moderator, or the handicap or the attempted ambush of the president of the United States. That was not the problem. So objectivity was never the goal. That's not the problem. The problem is, we can't get Donald Trump to behave. the way we want him to behave. We can't get Donald Trump to play the hand
Play game.
that we have dealt him.
Mhm.
And that is what the construct is.
They like to have their strings.
They gotta set up boundaries that favor them for everything. They have to have handicaps set in place for everything. They are, and this is, if you watched yesterday, this is who they are. These are, look, the days of like the wearing out your shoe leather journalist is over. These are entitled, yuppie, sniveling little cowards and babies. These are the kids who you would play with out on the block, guys. And, kept saying, foul tip, I foul tipped. You threw him 6 third strikes. And every time he caught, I just caught a piece of it. I need another pitch. No, dude, you struck out. And then when you strike, they strike out. They take their bat and they go home and they ruin the game for everybody because they're crying. Then their mommy makes them a bowl of chicken soup and tells them that it's going to be okay. This is who they are. Their advantage. So they expect to have an advantage on everything. The entire corporate media apparatus is not good enough for them. The entire power center of money in Wall Street is not good enough for them. The entire lobbying apparatus on K Street is not good enough for them. The entire social media and big tech apparatus is not good enough for them. They need every advantage known to man. And if they don't, they cry like little girls, like Larry Sabato. Cancel the debates. So then the debate commission comes out with this ridiculous statement. The plan to ambush Donald Trump didn't work, so don't worry. We have a plan to mute him. And again, the worst part about all of this is rewind the tape. Go look for yourselves. This isn't because Donald Trump was interjecting. This is because Donald Trump did not sit there and let them double team him. They are such a bunch of little Marys. Anyway, here we go. Let me send out this thing. Vote now for your preferred poll. All right. So what did we do, Laura? We did Maine, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I just put it in survey gizmo. A little one question thing. Maine, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Florida. Tracking Florida. That was the option. Okay. It looks like, frankly, Pennsylvania has a pretty big lead. I don't want to say something that's going to influence how you guys vote. So I'm just going to tweet it out and I will give you the results. But we started on what are the odds? I have to go and, put this up on Twitter, the show, because we have been getting, you guys are awesome. We got like 30,000 views on Periscope the other day, yesterday or 2 days ago. Yesterday. Yeah. 30,000. I mean, we've been doing that routinely almost now. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then that's just Periscope. And what are the odds does better on YouTube sometimes, but we only got a couple hundred votes from what are the odds yesterday. So here, I'm clicking the button right now. It's going to go out with the link and choose whichever one you want. All right. I will tell you, I don't want to, it just went out to Facebook. It went out to YouTube. I'm seeing it. And just to make sure people on Periscope get it. Yeah, if you're watching on my Periscope, there it is. Vote now for your preferred state poll. All right. I mean, if there's this many people watching, and I'll routinely send it out here. Let me tee it up and just leave it in that chat box. This way, when we get our surge, which is what's been going on, then I'll do it. All right. So there's a couple things I did want to bring up and note about the Florida poll too. But again, look, I don't know. I think the goal here with the debate commission is to get Donald Trump to kind of like back out. I really think that may be where we are. Listen, immediately, first of all, the poll showing Joe Biden won the debate, they're irrelevant. I mean, Chris Cillizza really is the dumbest political pundit ever. Donald Trump was right about that. He's in CNN now. Chris Cillizza, the guy who used to be at the Fix at the Washington Post when he remember in 2014 when we debuted the model. It was exactly why we debuted the election projection model in the first place. It was a perfect example. We had been doing it throughout the summer and then into, as candidates won and nominations were made. Here we are, pretty certain we got the Senate, projected. It is late September, and we're thinking, barring anything else, there were a couple of races, but barring anything else, we think we got this. Here it is, and it showed a Republican gain almost exactly of what they did gain. And Chris Liz at the Washington Post in the fix in their stupid little election model, which isn't a model, pumps out Democrats projected to hold the Senate. That was our first year, and we're like, what? Remember that?
Like,
oh my God. What? You know what? And I just remember thinking to myself, this is why we did this. Just keep it real. Let's keep going. And speaking of Sabato, the crybaby at the tiny crystal balls, he took forever to move races that were clearly Republican advantage races. Clear. I mean, that is what the crystal ball will do. They'll claim there's like a whole bunch of other stuff in their little methods, but they're full of crap. They look for pro-Democrat polls. The minute they're released, they'll move the race. But we have Laura and I have caught this and documented this for years. But when the polls show that that the race is moving to the right, they will take forever to move that race. They won't move it until they are forced to move it because the election is getting very close. And then at the very end, they will move it. All right. So, that's what they do at tiny crystal balls. All right. So,
I like you.
yeah, I mean, I really do also want to get back to the, thing. But the bottom line is, I think if the polls, Crystal Liza is what I was talking about, the idea that Trump is like yet to win and a general election debate. Look, the polls showed Hillary Clinton clobbering Donald Trump in the debates. The closest, he is right, the closest it ever was the second debate, which was really not that close. In the end, the second debate is really, I think, what got him finally elected. Because there was, in our tracking poll, this huge number of undecided voters. Contrary to the public polling, we actually had Trump leading more than he didn't lead. They would swap leads because they were both within tiny little area, low 40s, the both of them, right? But Trump had a way to get into the mid 40s before she did. But the undecideds was so big, and Gary Johnson and Jill Stein pulled a larger share than normal third-party candidates. That was taking was hurting her. All right. But in the end, people wanted to vote for Donald Trump. They just weren't sure yet that he could be president. And in the second debate, when all those polls came out, they completely missed the idea, which is that he just needed to meet a presidential bar, and make people calm. After that, if you remember the second debate, the Billy Bush tape came out, and he was being told to just drop the campaign, maybe give it to Mike Pence. And he went out there, he performed, and he actually put on a hell of a performance. The bottom line is, folks, that it doesn't always matter. If you look back at the history of presidential debate polls, they thought Gore beat Bush all the time. Okay. Mm-hmm. Bush got elected. They thought Kerry stomped Bush. And he did in that first debate, but Bush came back, but it still didn't matter. Bush, was not viewed to be the winner overall. Anyway, the bottom line is it doesn't really matter who won the debate all the time. Right? Walter Mondale overwhelmingly won the debate over Ronald Reagan, and I believe that is true. That was rather accurate, but they really didn't matter. And in 2016, none of them mattered as far as who the polls thought won. CNN is just not credible. So I don't care really what the CNN poll says, to be frank. I just don't. I don't find them credible at all anymore. But I do look at like the CBS because they did it and it's comparable, and we can look back. CNN has a different pollster now too, so it's also different. They fired their pollster for being too pro-Trump, which is unbelievable, but they did. So I don't know how you could possibly find anything, credible. But I can look back at the CBS tracker because that's still YouGov's data, and that was a much, 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 much closer margin. In the end, It's the optics that I think really matter to people. The things that we don't talk about in political punditry. All right. And that's all you'll get from people like Chris Eliza. Here's the polling numbers. He's like, he doesn't want to debate, and that's a problem. He's president.
Yeah, obviously
Hillary is not president. I mean, it's some of this crap is like really nuts. They really, I mean, if you want to understand the mind of these people, go back and look at election night coverage. And they're like, oh, I know, like so many people are crying tonight. So many people are upset. He won. What about the people who voted for him, right? Like you're like acting like the loser is, you know, the really, I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. The only one who matters. The people who voted for the loser was the only one who mattered. That's how they operate. So they really can't get out of their own heads and bubbles. They just can't. It's not in them to do. It's not in them to do. That's why after that election, they just went right to Russia collusion, and there had to be some reason. And of course, they knew they were lying, but they were trying to shame you and convince you that you made the wrong decision because they can't be wrong. So yeah, I know, Micah, if I pronounce your name wrong, I take no pleasure in mocking Larry Sabato like that, as Laura will tell you. I used to have great respect for him. He's a grave disappointment. I mean, really, like everyone else, or not everyone, but like so many others in the era of Donald Trump, he got unmasked. And really, I mean, we've always known this. He's a Kennedy era Democrat. His family, were Kennedy kissers because, he was the first Catholic, but many of the Kennedy era Democrats are no longer Democrats because of Kennedy would probably be horrified of Antifa and Black Lives Matter. But they're just not. And he's someone I would not have expected and look, it's not that a lot of these people like him agree with how radical some of these people in the party have become. It's not that. They just value their social status and position more than they value your community. Let's be real for a second. They don't care about your neighborhood or your job. They don't give a damn. It's far from the gates of the University of Virginia. He likes his station at the Center for Politics. He likes it. Look, we have, messages and whatever. We were always rather friendly. But he jumped on the train too with smears and attacks. I owe him nothing. He knows damn well I was nothing more than a message away. We talked about different polling and election forecasting.
You have email?
I got email, Laura. I got emails from everybody, as you know. He's one of them. These people. It's just the way they are. It's sad. You got to take it with the bad. All right, so let's refresh. I'm curious because I'm about to go into the next segment. God bless you, my love.
Sorry.
About to go into the next segment. I do need a quick 30-minute break. I forgot something. Or not 30-minute, 30-second. And I may be like, look, if it goes off and I'm not there, I'll be there in a hot second. Just give me a hot second. All right. Yeah, you want to keep them entertained while I do? Yeah.
No, go take it.
So where are we at? Before we do, 252 completed responses. We could do better than that, guys. Right? Can't we? And we will, though. I'll tweet it back out when we come back. All right. And then when we come back too, I'll give you a little preview of where we're at. I don't want to say anything, like I said, that influences where you guys want to go next. I will tell you this. You guys have already raised about $2,000. I'm not kidding.
But you also have to remember.
I don't know if you guys want me to like shout out. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you want to be anonymous. I have I just want to say something. There have been some look, we appreciate every dollar, right? Mm-hmm. Every dollar. But there have been some generous ones, and I just want to let everybody know we see all of you. All right?
I don't
And I don't
care.
want to blow it up because I know a lot of
Yeah,
people want to be
no.
anonymous. I would read all your names from a list to thank you. I would take, but I know that you just probably don't want that. So I'm not going to. But I just want you guys to know that we appreciate it. We know, and we see you back, basically. All right. All right. So here we go.
We will do right by
And
it.
we will do right by it. Yep. And we will. I think I know which way you guys are going to go, but I want to look. I know there are a lot of viewers to the show. So, but I want to, yeah, I think so too. But there are a lot of viewers to the show, but look at where they go. You guys come from everywhere, including Europe. You guys registered voters in Europe? Are you guys registered voters? All right. Look, we'll be back in 30 seconds and we'll go over some economic news, which I think absolutely has to be talked about because it won't get any coverage. All right. You're watching Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. Follow me on Twitter at People's_Pundit right there. Don't forget to like the page on Facebook and subscribe to the page on YouTube. Hit that notification bell so you get notified when we go live. All right. Also, the best way to support the show, of course, is to subscribe to PPD News, which you can do, People's Pundit Daily, which you could do by going to ppdnews.us/subscribe. ppdnews.us/subscribe. I'll be on One America News later today, which is pretty cool. And I got some other announcements that I want to give, but we'll do that at the end of the show. All right, 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Go.
I do feel better. I feel a lot better now. All right, so here we go. You want to stay in the corner? Look, I put Laura in the corner.
Nobody
puts Laura in the corner. Oh,
Sorry,
dirty
guys.
dancing. All right, let's look at some of the results. Let's see where you guys are at right now. You want to check it out before we go on to the economic news? All right, here I'll show you. I'll pull back the curtain on the online survey panel. Okay. Here is the public polling project. So as you can see, 254 completed responses. All right. Not shabby at all. This is where they come from. Like I said, there are some in Europe. See that? And then you guys generally filled out. Look at that. Lots of you in Florida, lots of you pretty much everywhere, All right. Let's take a look at the results. Yeah, it's cool, right? I love the geo thing. I do. And that is such a huge help. And I'll show them Florida. I forgot to show them the distribution in the Florida poll. All right. So this is where we're at right now. All right. Whoa, that changed a lot. Pennsylvania's in the lead, 62.9%. Arizona, 25%. Florida poll, 1.6%. Maine, 2.7%. New Hampshire, 7.8%. Listen, I did get a frantic call from a friend yesterday. Did you see New Hampshire? What do you think about that? Is that right? I will remind you all about the Hillary plus 13 in the final in that poll last time. All right. And New Hampshire is difficult to poll. It's a small state. Look, guys, I'm skeptical. I will just tell you this. I'm skeptical of any idea that we're going to have some Obama landslide. Obama was a historic first. He got a rather large share of the Republican vote. All right. You would need independents to swing grossly against Donald Trump, and I mean a lot, in order to get that kind of an election. And you would need a lot of independents, a lot of Republicans to vote as well for Joe Biden. Now, we've been polling everywhere at this point. We've polled the Rust Belt. We have polled New Hampshire, although that's stale. That was a while ago. We've polled Florida. And on, and nationally. The independents in some places are going to Biden, but not by a lot. Pretty much anywhere, except for Wisconsin, I think, if I remember correct. Was it Wisconsin, right? That's what Biden was like. It was like Biden plus 6 in Wisconsin. I'm blowing it up now. All right. It was like Biden plus 6, which was about what it was for Hillary during the time we polled that in September. These independents, though, are not like, look at the Florida poll, 3 points. All right. That's the sampling error for the poll itself is 3.1. If you guys watched What Are the Odds yesterday, and I'll do it with you again today there's a few things I want to show you in the Florida poll that now that I've had some time to look over, instead of you guys just looking at a crosstab, there's a couple of things I want to point out. But I went back and looked at the old polling from 2018 that we did, because we tracked basically through October into November for Ron DeSantis and Rick Scott. And the idea, like, we had Gillum up by 4 points. And looking back, the independents looked just about the way they looked now, even though Andrew Gillum went on to win independents. So the exit polls say. I think what might have happened, because I'm seeing so many similarities, the reason why Gillum was up by 4, it was simply because of our projected electorate. And in September, we were wrong. We were right at the end, but in September, we were wrong. It was not going to be that even of an electorate. And in fact, it turned out not to be. This time around, we're seeing an even higher enthusiasm gap than we saw in 2018. And that is why the electorate is what it is in the Florida poll. Okay. And that in Trump is doing better in areas that we would have expected Biden to do better in, which was like Duval County, et cetera, et cetera. There's also this trend we're seeing with independents. It's like, we know they're not we know that they're saying they're undecided, when in fact they have a pretty good idea of who they're going to vote for. When we do this next poll, whichever state it turns out to be, even though Pennsylvania's in the lead right now, I suppose it could change, and I'll tweet it out again just for just vote once. I think you guys should be blocked anyway from voting more than once. And if you are, we're going to see your IP and we're going to just remove it. So if you do try to vote twice, it's what we do so other people can't make the what am I looking for, Laura? The fraudulent responses. Yeah. We'll see your IP, so we'll block it. All right.
Don't do with the
yeah, don't do. Yeah, a lot of people this year think they're funny in these panels, and we'll get them from a voter file or an email them, and then they'll send it to their friends and family as if we can't tell that they sent it to their friends and family. I mean, we don't password protect because a lot of people. We don't want anybody to be. Can I mail in my vote? We don't want to password protect because some people are rather not. They're not techie great, and that goes out. Without whatever. I don't want to get into how it works, but here, and I'll send this out again. If you guys haven't voted, vote on which state you'd like to see polled. But the bottom line is, we'll see that you voted twice. All right. So don't do it. We'll remove you. All right. This ain't Philly. This is PBD. Don't vote twice. Right. Don't vote twice. Again, there was a back and forth that I want to just clear up on Twitter. You guys know, because you watch the show, there was a difference between being registered to vote in the United States of America and being eligible to vote in the United States of America. So I saw one of you guys in a back and forth with somebody on my Twitter timeline. You are right and they are wrong. And they are not, it's not sinking into their little heads that there are people on the voter rolls who are not eligible to vote. That is why unsolicited ballots have never been included in election reform standards in any state, which big states that have done this has been like Florida, Nevada, all right, or Nevada, whatever, Lord. The bottom line is
don't get mad at me that
they know
Nevada.
this. They know this. There's a big difference. And Trump was right in the debate and Joe Biden was wrong. And of course, people will wind up getting ballots for other people who once had a record at their address, for people who may have been on the voter rolls now, but maybe they committed a crime or something, right? So they shouldn't vote anymore. They're not eligible to vote anymore. There's tons of this stuff, yeah, I mean, that's really where we're at. Unsolicited votes should be illegal. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely. And in fact, in a lot of these election reform things, it is not legal to send solicited ballots. They ask for moratoriums all over the place. All right.
I
Anyway.
just don't understand why we can't do election on election day. Like the
Yeah.
thought of this is beyond me.
Mhm.
We've been doing it for how long?
Yeah.
Hundreds of years.
And
Horse and buggy people could get there.
And I know it. I know. And South Carolina is one of these states, guys, where you'll see these polls like this. I mean, I think that's like a little bit ridiculous. I look, is it possible? I suppose. I think it's rather ridiculous. All right. But they'll do this, and they're trying to throw people off. There was a Doug Jones +3 in Alabama the other day. Guys, during a pro-Democrat year, he needed to run against an alleged pedophile or an alleged serial predator, to get the margin of victory that he got, which was nil. All right. He barely won. And that was really just due to Madison abandoning him because of Shelby and Moore. I'm talking abandoning Moore because of Shelby. And then the Wiregrass did not vote. I mean, the idea Doug Jones is going to hold on is freaking ludicrous. All right. So, but this is the silly season. That's why we call it the silly season. All right. How do I find the link to vote on which state I want polled, Luis? Here you go, Luis. I'll send it out again. All right. Here it is. And I'm going to, where is she? You're on Periscope. All right. Yep. You're on Periscope. So I don't have to blast it out to everybody. Let me send it on Periscope. Yeah. Periscope's up now. But of course they damaged our, by doing what they did, they damaged our viewership because people normally get that notification and then it goes up, but they didn't get it. I really do. So we'll come back and we'll check this poll. I'm going to remove this right now though. Okay. And we're going to take a look at, economic report that, I mean, if you've been watching or reading PPD, then that the housing market is on fire. Okay. And where are we? We're going to go to, of course, what a hell of a time for this to happen. We hit expiration things on PPD, so it booted me. All right. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll be there. You know what? Just see the screen the way they see the screen. It's just like, you can see mine. All right. So pending home sales hit a record high in August. Okay. The PHSI, the pending home sales index, and the overall housing market have showed, remember the K, you call it a K, Mr. President, Joe Biden calls your recovery a K-shaped recovery instead of a V-shaped recovery. Never heard of it in my life. They make these like things up. For the most part, outside of labor, certain labor indicators, okay, the manufacturing, housing, service sector, every sector and the vast majority of indicators, economic indicators, have shown a V-shaped recovery. It is the labor indicators that we've been disappointed with, even though the labor market has had some really strong employment numbers. Okay. It's the bottom line, those damn insured unemployment claims that we told you about, right? So anyway, the National Association of Realtors, and by the way, the housing market is where I'm going with this, has been one of, we could see a housing sector boom, the likes of which we haven't seen in a long time. And it wouldn't be driven by something as foolish as the Community Reinvestment Act. All right. So anyway, the National Association of Realtors reported pending home sales surged nearly 3 times the consensus forecast by 8.8% in August, making the 4 straight months of solid gains. Each of the 4 major regions, again, posted growth in both month-over-month and year-over-year transactions. That's also, I think it's the 3rd straight month we've seen both. The pending home sales index, which is a forward-looking indicator of home sales based on contract signings, rose 8.8 to 132.8 in August. That's a record high. And it got almost no coverage yesterday. Surprise. That is a record for the pending home sales index. Year-over-year contract signings are now up 24.2%. Folks,
but according to Joe Biden,
that is not a K. Right. Thank you, Lord. That is not a K. In fact, I don't even know what the hell a K is. I don't know what he's talking about. I will say this, going back pre-pandemic, all right, February 2020. We are way above pre-pandemic levels in the housing sector. Way above it. And the personal income report was abysmal, but that's what you're going to get for the quarter when you end the month, when you have those months in the quarter, when you have these unemployment benefits disrupt labor market conditions. It's a sad thing. But I told everybody when this started, don't go down this road, because they're going to be able to cherry pick and manipulate. And it's sad. And not to mention the human toll. One of Trump's best lines in that debate the other night. They think they're hurting me. They're hurting people. It's exactly right. But the rest of the economic indicators are way beyond pre-pandemic. Look at that, Laura. We're way beyond pre-pandemic. Here's the year to date. Here's the 1 year, which is really like year over year. Okay. And here's, well, that's roughly, I guess it's, yep, there it is. I knew that. Yep. You can clearly see if you look at the area chart below, the area line chart, you can clearly see where the pandemic dipped. And look at where we are now. It hasn't been this high. This is a record, and it got no coverage. And this is not the only indicator. By the way, forecasts range from a low of 2 to a high of 4%. The consensus was only 3.1. An index of 100 is equal to the contract level, the level of contract activity that was in 2001 when this indicator started. And what's his name goes on, Lawrence Yun. They are a lobby. I have to make, you know what? This has got to be said. The National Association of Realtors is a housing lobby. So they always have some agenda in their, like what Yun says. Lawrence Yun, who's the chief economist. Everything is, it's never just, this is what we found and that's it. It's, this is what we found, oh, and we love this. Because they are a lobby. And it's important to note, this is an indicator that's trustworthy. It's an objective indicator, but they are a lobby. Tremendously low mortgage rates below 3% have helped pending home sales climb in August, he said. Additionally, the feds intend to hold short-term funds rates near zero for the foreseeable future, which should, in the absence of inflationary pressure, keep mortgage rates low. And that will undoubtedly aid home buyers continuing to enter the marketplace. Now, that was like an objective comment, but here's what I'm talking about. Here we go. You ready? Well, I did very much expect the housing sector to be stable during the pandemic-induced economic shutdowns. I am pleasantly surprised to see the industry bounce back so strongly and quickly. That's always their like little wink, wink. They were opposed to these shutdowns, by the way. As a result of the stronger than expected recovery and growth in housing, the National Association of Realtors, NAR, raised its forecast for the entire housing market. Pending home sales by region, you guys can go through that if you want. I just want to give a quick recap. As we previously reported, indicators widely show the U.S. housing market is booming. That is Yun's words. Surpassing pre-pandemic levels and expectations. Experts now foresee the housing market leading the economic recovery and have raised growth forecasts for the sector. The National Association of Home Builders Housing Market Index reported builder confidence unexpectedly rose another 5 points to 83 in September, smashing an all-time high and beating the consensus forecast. The housing market index started at 2020 at a 20-year high. Now, by the way, it again, like I just said, it started at a 20-year. I have said this numerous times that the Trump economy was booming, but it wasn't on all four cylinders. Housing was kind of slow to the roll. In 2020, it was coming. And actually, we could see it in late 2019. If it wasn't for these shutdowns, I mean, yeah, we're going to have a solid third quarter in economic growth. But if it wasn't for these shutdowns, this economy was not going to slow down. Regardless of what we heard, there was some slowing in manufacturing, but it was not going to slow down. Like everybody in the media tried to cheerlead for a recession. It wasn't going to happen. And it only did because of the decision to do this, to shut down the economy in the wake of the pandemic. Anyway, the National Association of Realtors reported existing home sales in August hit the highest level since December 2006. The stronger than expected increase for the third consecutive month followed a record 24.7% gain in July. And for this report, the pending home sales index previously surged more than 3 times the consensus forecast by 16.6% in June and soared a record 44.3% in May. It rose another 5.9 in July. Things have been gangbusters. For this report, you're lucky to get like a 2-3% bounce. They don't move like this. And anyone who says it's simply because of the pandemic and things revert, it's not true. The housing market is booming despite the pandemic. Despite it, not because it's recovering from it. New residential construction statistics for housing starts and building permits skyrocketed in July. Again, despite lingering effects to coronavirus. The former gained 22.6% and the latter 18.8%. Why does that matter? Building permits are when the builder, whoever you hire or whoever's building a development, subdivision, whatever it is, whatever it may be, the builder goes in to the county and applies for the permits. Housing starts is actual groundbreaking. And there's a third component to this, which is the lagging indicator, which is housing completions. So building permits come first, then they break ground. Those are housing starts. And then the house is done, and that is housing completion. That is the order in which it goes. If you look at that chart as well, it is a huge V that is now far surpassed pre-pandemic levels.
But I thought it was a K.
It's so stupid, Laura. It's so dumb. I mean, this is like some things are just not debatable. You know what I mean? We plot them on graphs for a living. You know what I mean?
I wonder if I could make a Q. That would be fun.
I know, right? That'd be something else.
Throw letters out there too.
And I know what he means. He's being I know what he means by a K. It's just that it's nonsense. It's totally nonsense.
Not only that, but he plagiarized his record.
I mean, you're listening to a guy, right? I mean, he took Trump's. I mean, mostly this is this buy American thing. This is a guy who's been, Barnes is right about that, guys. In the debate, one of the major missed opportunities for Trump was what he had said during the national convention, which is that Joe Biden voted for every major war. He sent your son overseas. You sent your son overseas to fight war, and your jobs overseas to China. All right. Housing starts, by the way, I'm looking for it. I guess they were huge. And then new home sales, guys, huge. As a matter of fact, let me pull that up. You want to see something in the corner of my eye over there? Yeah, there it is. New residential sales. Okay. Let's get rid of that so I can grab it, pull it up, and show it to everybody. Come on, load. There we go. This is my back end. This is what it looks like when we create charts. Okay. These are the charts you see on PPD. And this is so we don't have to write JavaScript code every damn time we do a report. This is where are you? Publish. Well, that'll change I have it set so it goes to another tab. I'm trying to get it to go to that actual one. Here we go. I just did it again. Phenomenal.
Great.
I know. Well, they don't know what it means.
You don't know that.
Do you guys speak Italian? Anybody speak Italian? Here it is. All right. So this is residential homes, new residential sales, new home sales. This is the 1 year. That is beyond a V. Beyond. We haven't seen levels like this, folks. You have to go back. Right here, we're at about 1.1, but really 1,011,000, right? And you have to go all the way back to where are you? Nope, I'm even worse than that. You got to go. This may be I didn't even notice that. Maybe a new record. I didn't even know that. I'd have to go back and look, guys. That may be a record high. I didn't even realize it when it happened. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, This is ludicrous idea. That it's a K. There are, to be fair, housing indicators like we got the report today for jobless claims. Jobless claims did not fall as much as we would like. They fell, but that's because we saw an increase last month. So they're down 36,000 from the previous week. They came in at 837. The 4-week moving average, though, that's down another almost 12,000 to 867. But here is one number that's great. Okay. The insured unemployment rate, you guys know I'm all obsessed with, was 8.1% for the week ending September 9th. That's a decrease of 0.6 of a percentage point. We don't typically see this number jump up the way it did or fall the way it is falling. It is being stubbornly persistent. We don't really see that often, but this is something that's unprecedented and disruptive. I just want to say again, like I told you yesterday, I have been saying for weeks and months now, the president was right about these blue states disproportionately hurting the country. They're doing this with these lockdowns to hurt him politically, but they are hurting people. Hawaii, 21.3%. California, 16.1%. And Nevada, 14.7%. New York, right behind them at 13.7%. When you have these big blue states, doing these, it disproportionately impacts the national numbers. By the way, the largest increases, all blue states. New York, except for Georgia, by the way. New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Oregon. Massachusetts, we don't hear a lot about it in the media, but it was one of the most strictest lockdown states. Also had one of the highest infection rates. So they did the point is, you see that back and forth with Cuomo and Cruz yesterday? If you're a leftist, you thought Cruz got his butt handed to him by Cuomo. If you're a right winger, you thought Ted Cruz whacked him pretty good but Ted Cruz's point is valid. They made these decisions without incorrect information. They didn't stop the infections, Laura. There's no evidence to suggest that what they did saved anybody. And all they did was hurt everyone economically. That's it. Michigan, man, still with this high insured unemployment rate. There was one county in Michigan, Laura. One county. And she crushed the state.
What was her name again?
Whitmer.
That's the one I.
It's because I always call her Hitmore.
I know. That's why I always.
Look, it's not like they don't use these terms, So you want to throw around words and accusations like that, then it's just a damn shame. You look at Michigan is still above 24% in the Detroit metro area. 24% of the workforce. That should be criminal. That should be criminal.
It's disgusting.
Your links are disappearing, guys. So you're telling me when I tweet out this poll, the link is disappearing?
And Periscope, at least, for sure.
I'll try it again one more time on Periscope, okay? Let's try it. It's right out there. You guys can't get... Oh, my God. Mine just... Oh, no. There it is. It just went out now, okay? Just got in now. Did I give you guys the right? You should. If you already took it, it's going to block you. So somebody said they can't get into the survey. If you already took the survey, guys, then it's going to block you. All right?
He voted yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you did, you will be blocked. Okay? Now, some people have crafty ways, and I'm not going to tell you how, to get in, but I'll see your IP anyway. So just don't do it. Vote one time. All right? All right. Oh, my God. It's 11 o'clock already. Whew. All right. Let's check. You know what? We'll check them when we get back. All right. But counting on you guys to vote and vote. Make sure you vote enough. All right. Looks like we're about 280 responses right now. I don't want to put it out just to Twitter in and of itself, guys, because you are the viewing audience. So I want you guys to be the ones to vote on it. All right. All right. All right. Listen, it's 11 o'clock already. Let's go take that. Let's go take that break. Don't forget to like the page, People's Planet Daily, on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. Let you know when we're going live. All right. Also, the best way, of course, to support the show is by subscribing to People's Planet Daily, which you can do by going to ppdnews.us/subscribe. ppdnews.us/subscribe. All those economic indicators will be up there a little bit later once I have a chance to review them. Okay. All of you guys who have subscribed lately, thanks. We love you for it. I mean, from the really, we hit
we get new programs.
Yeah, then you guys
fun for you.
That's right. I mean, really, we sink everything right back into it.
We don't collect the
We
salary.
sink everything right back into it. It'd be cool if we did this and that, and we really want that map where, I'm not going to get in that. When it goes up, I'm going to be like, red flag, just to give everybody a little bit of a warning shot that it's there,
Can you just tweet it out for me right now?
The link?
The Survey Monkey link. Yeah.
It's
Like
Gizmo.
Gizmo.
I don't like monkey.
I
Yeah, I don't want it. What I'm saying is I'm a little bit nervous on tweeting it out because I don't want everyone and their mother to take it. I want the viewers to take it. All right, we'll figure out something. Give me a second, okay? Give me a second. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you have their emails, which if they donated, we definitely have their emails. I was actually thinking of doing that. What you're saying, sending out like, here's the donation list. Make sure the donors themselves have voted, and absolutely just upload the list of emails and send it right out to them.
Those people shoot me an email.
Yeah. Listen, if you can't get into the survey, email producer@peoplespunditdaily.com and we will email you the survey. All right. The break songs for this one, for Inside the Numbers, the theme song we play is called Bad Habit. It's by the Bowen Band, which is a Grammy considered band. The song is not out yet. They're letting us use it, which is super cool. I mean, they have stuff. I think that, it's but that is not mastered and out yet. So I keep busting his chops too. It's telling him, listen, people like it and ask me for it. When are you going to do this? But I think that's just the way that industry. I don't know anything about that industry, but the producer or whatever it is, whoever it is, their manager or whatever, they're just like, no, can't, not yet. So I'll let you know when it is, though. All right. But anyway, I'll be back in 2 minutes because 11:03, we're burning the candle here. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
How much you wanna bet that I can get you back inside your head before the summer ends and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be. I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats, it's restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love. Because you're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette. 'Cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
Take a one-way ride, steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to spear for knives to give in to the need and leave it all behind.
'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. 'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker.
Can you stop laughing? If they only saw what just happened to me. I went to.
Oh, I wish it was on camera.
Oh my goodness, you guys. We're back from Inside the Number. We're 2 Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. Follow me on Twitter at People's_Pundit right there. Oh my Lord. I just bashed my own nose, smacked myself with the microphone, headset, almost fell backwards off the stool. Oh my Lord. Laura's laughing hysterically.
I'm the worst
Listen.
person. Listen, guys.
She is the worst person to make a fool of yourself in front of.
Mess up in front of. If you fall in front of me,
I'm
gonna laugh at you.
Oh my God.
But I really do care. It's just I can't help it.
Oh my God, she's funny. All right, if you haven't voted in the poll already, I am sending it out right now in the chats, okay? Don't vote twice, all right? But yeah, that was something. All right. Oh my lordy. Anyway, we're also jokesters with each other. Like I'm one of those people you can't scare. Like I'll throw a punch at you.
Yeah.
You know, like if you scare me, I swing.
Tell
right?
me what I did.
So oh my God. So we had just watched. The funny thing is too, we had just watched It Chapter 2 when she did this to me. And I'm in the shower, right? And we have now in the new house, we have a stand-up shower with a glass door. All right. In the bathroom and separate, right? So I'm just, you know, you're in the shower and you're doing your hair, you're closing your hair, right? You're washing your hair and your eyes are closed because you don't want to get soap in your eyes, right? Just laughing hysterically over here. I'm like, la da 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 da, right? And I open my eyes and she's like this, up against the screen. Man, she got me so bad. I had the rat. I was like, ah! Threw the rack at the door. She got me so good. Oh my God. It was no joke, man. But I'm glad I threw the rag because I'm like I said, I'm one of those people who will throw a punch if you scare me. So I was like, thank God I didn't like bam punch the glass door, because when you're that kind of person who reacts like that, instead of you react.
That's why
get scared last, react first. And that's why she was a distance away. All right, but she tried to get me the other day too, coming out of the bathroom, but it didn't work. Yeah, we do that though to each other, and it's funny. But she's the worst person to do what I just did in front of, because she'll just mock the hell out of you. Right? Yeah, listen to her. Yeah. So it was funny. But yeah, I just tweeted it out. It should be in there, Lisa. In the YouTube thing. All right. So here, I'll do it one more time for YouTube. Did I? Oh yeah. I had it like in the copy and paste thing, you know, but okay. Let's see where let me make sure the Google Sheet updated. I'll tweet it out again right now, Lisa. Okay. But let me just make sure, because I had noticed on the old spreadsheet from Florida polling, it didn't. Yeah, it's still not doing it. I don't know. I must have done something wrong. All right. But you know what I could do? I could show them mine, because it does on mine. That's the new poll. Here is the mid-September. Are the rows frozen? Yeah, they are. Okay. Here is the mid-September Florida poll that we did with DeSantis and Rick Scott to crossed in mid-September Google Sheets. I just want to make sure I get the right one. I don't want to get the one that's publicly viewable, because for some reason the columns aren't freezing. All right. Now I know it's hard to see, but let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for you guys to see. 12 font. I got to lower the other font because, yeah, that's pretty good. You guys can see that pretty well. All right. Okay. When we were polling, and something just jumped out at me when I was...
other than your headphones?
Other than my headphones. Wise guy. All right. All right. So here is, and let me go to the totals so you can see the totals. And now you can see by party. And this is by party that jumped out. Okay. As you can see, the independent column is about 4 points for each candidate. Trump and Biden are closer in the poll that we just found with independents. Biden's up by 3, I think it was, if I remember, 2 or 3. But overall, obviously, and Ron DeSantis did go on to lose independents in 2018 in Florida. The exit polls show a very big margin, like 11 points or something ridiculous. It could even be bigger than that. I don't buy that, folks. I'll tell you right now, I don't buy it. That the exit polls, you could do simple basic math, and the exit polls don't add up. Okay. So I don't know why they don't check their own, like, it's unbelievable. But as you could see here, that Republican women thing was an issue in 2018. And you can see Bill Nelson taking 12% of the Republican vote, 11.7. You could see Andrew Gillum taking supposedly 12% of the Republican vote, 12.4. And then you did see crossover for Rick Scott too at 10.2 and Ron DeSantis 12.3. When we did look into that, it absolutely was black women. And then in the exit polls, one thing they purport is that Ron DeSantis got 18% of the black female vote. We were actually showing that Ron DeSantis was going to do better among the black voting electorate. All right. And then something else, which is maybe tax reform party, the Constitution Party, the Reform Party, the Green Party, whatever it may be. If they don't actually call themselves an independent, they call themselves something else, then that's that's the numbers. Actually, Ron DeSantis and Rick Scott were both leading among that group. In the Florida poll, we combined independent and something else in the new 2020 poll that we just released to you guys yesterday. Something jumped out at me, which is roughly this independent split. And you see in the Senate race, a 16 percentage point undecided, a supposed vote in the electorate. We see 13%. As we tracked throughout October, late October, and got closer to the election, that number for independents that were undecided started to shrink with the Senate race. And then it didn't shrink by as much in the governor's race, in the gubernatorial election. And now, just keep this in mind because I'm going to switch screens real quick and show you something else now, okay? Where is my handy dandy crosstab from Market Site? It's going to make me sign in again. I switched over to the hardwire Ethernet. Now it's making me sign in to everything again. Keep that in mind while the 2018 is still up. And then let's go to the new poll with for president. Okay. So here we go. Stop, remove, add this new one, Market Site crosstab, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Okay. And I'll make it bigger. Okay. There it is. And you can see this. All right. This is by age. Let's go to the presidency. I think that's the first one. Anyway, voter intention, voter expectation. Yeah, let's go to all so you can see it all anyway. That's by age. We're going to go to all. Okay. So you can see by age here. You can see by, let's make it party. Just because I thought it would be closer. Why on earth is this doing this? It's killing me. Bear with me, guys, for a second, all right? Oh, because it's all. Voter intention. I could go back, actually, the other way now. So now you can see it, all age groups, because it's not going to show it like that. There we go. Okay, let it load up. Here's Donald Trump's here. Joe Biden's here. Okay, here's by party. You see that party crossover is not as big anymore, although you can clearly see that both parties still have some undecided votes. All right. But look at the independent undecided, 17.4%. All right. This is, and by the way, that blue, the tooltip just popped up and showed you. Blue is statistically significant. Okay. So 36% voting for Donald Trump, 39% voting for Joe Biden, about the same spread. So about 3 points. All right. A little bit closer in some of the other polling we had done in 2018. For a while there, DeSantis was getting clobbered with independents. But there was always this huge number of undecideds until the final couple weeks. And in truth, all right, that shrunk with the Senate race a lot quicker, which is why we had a pretty good idea from the most part, Rick Scott led Bill Nelson. There was one, we did one time in one of our polls, Bill Nelson overtook Rick Scott, and it was by 1 point, nothing, or 2 points. It wasn't a lot, but for the most part, Rick Scott led throughout the entire time that we polled, and that dated back to April. All right, because we generally knew who it was going to be. All right, the undecided vote here, I'm not sure at this point is undecided at 17% among independents. I'm thinking And the reason why is because of the number of independent people who say they're uncomfortable talking to a pollster, who also say that they believe in a shy Trump vote, and that people are afraid to say they're voting for Donald Trump, and that there's a 3-point gap in their belief that Donald Trump will win. All right. There's just a whole lot of social desirability, bias, flags. All right. And for those who don't believe me, let's look at this by party. Let's just look at independents right now. Okay. And then let's go to first pollsters, and we'll look at here is the number of independents when we asked, how comfortable or uncomfortable are you telling each group of people about your political beliefs, such as how you intend to vote? Yeah, 32% said they were very comfortable. 23% said they were somewhat comfortable, but 22% said they were somewhat uncomfortable, and very uncomfortable, another 22%. So nearly half, more than 4 in 10 independents flatly say they are not comfortable sharing their views with a pollster. That actually gets worse for strangers too. So my point being is 4 in 10 of them, there's at least a plausible chance that, like we saw in 2018, they really weren't, or at least not all of them, were really undecided. It was more like they just didn't want to say. They were just uncomfortable. There was more social desirability bias in the race for the governor mansion as opposed to the race for the Senate. All right. And probably has to do with race and the monkeying it up comment. I mean, it probably has something. We don't know that for sure, but we can make a pretty strong hypothesis. Okay. In the governor's race, both were known quantities, and there was really no question of race or anything like that, you know? So basically, what I'm saying is it's at least plausible. Let's also look at let's just keep it on independents for a time. All right. The number of independents who say they're shy. Do you believe there is a significant number of shy voters who do not want to share that they are voting for Donald Trump? 58.7% say yes, 13.5% say no. All right. And 27.8% are unsure. Now let's look at the voter expectations question. Who do you think is going to win? Independents think Donald Trump is going to win. So for those who don't know, there probably is a reason why the voter expectations question has had more predictive value in most more elections than the voter intention question. Because sometimes people, they're not particularly political. They want to be on the winning side. That is also why we have found we don't ask about prior votes like you see Nate Cohen doing at the New York Times right now with Sienna. That is pointless, Nate. I hate to tell you. You should have done your homework first. There's a ton of evidence to suggest that people will tell you they voted for a candidate when in fact they did not. All right? Maybe they voted for Trump in 2016, but they've been shunned and shamed so badly in the last 4 years. When Nate Cohen asked them who they voted for in 2016, they lie. And they say Hillary Clinton. Vice versa. They may have voted for Hillary Clinton, but they want to be on the winning side. So when Nate Cohen and Sienna asked them, who did you vote for in 2016? They lie. There is a ton of evidence to support what I'm saying right now. And by the way, the Slimer himself wrote an article once about that. And there's been a wealth of new evidence to suggest that at least he was right about something. All right? Even a broken clock is right twice a day. That's right. Let's look at some of these. I got a lot of questions. Why is it R plus this? Why is it R? We were wrong in 2018 to think that the electorate, and if you guys look again, I'll just refresh your memories. Republicans were in that sample, Laura. It was only D+2. We were wrong to think that the electorate would be closer to the electorate in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it was not. How enthusiastic are independents to vote? This is another thing. It's possible to change the margin if you get your base. It's not possible. It'll happen if you get your base to the polls while someone else does not. Here is the voting enthusiasm question. Extremely enthusiastic. Independents, 36.9%. That's it. Republicans, they're in the 60s. And combined with they're about 90. Democrats are about 16 points behind in extreme, or whatever it may be. I got to go look again, but about 16 points behind in extreme. And need the very category, and we've talked about this before, to even get close. And it still doesn't reach the 90s. 90% enthusiasm is the target. Just for people who don't know, when you're measuring enthusiasm, if your base isn't 90% enthusiastic, you have a problem. 70%, 80%, it's dangerous. All right. Let's see. And I know that sounds nuts, but that's just what we found. That is what we have found. All right. Now voting likelihood. Where's the likelihood? Is it in here, I guess? Hell. Did we cross party? Well, I want to show them that, We could show them the likelihood with Trump voters versus Biden voters. And this is why it's possible that those independents tighten because they may not vote all that much. All right. So here's the voting intention. And here's the likelihood. Because people say, well, it's only Trump plus whatever because it's R whatever. Well, yeah, no crap. That's how DeSantis won. That's how Rick Scott won. Folks, hear me. Ignore the mail-in ballot stuff. 50% of the Florida electorate doesn't trust it this year. A state that has done absentee ballots for years. All of the data suggests Republicans are much more likely to vote. And with the registration game, Democrats are getting clobbered in the registration race, whatever you want to call it. They're getting clobbered. And normally, we always want to talk about voter registration. In every damn election cycle, all Democratic pundits like Larry the Tiny Crystal Ball Sabato and the Slimer and Cohn too, all they ever want to talk about is registration. Oh, well, it's very unlikely that Republicans could win Ohio by that much because, voter registration. I don't know if they can win Colorado voter registration. It's going to be very hard for Mitt Romney to overtake Florida voter registration. I know Trump's doing better in the polls, but there are a lot more Democrats in Florida voter registration. Now they don't want to talk about it. Pennsylvania has gotten more Republican since 2016. It's indisputable. Florida has gotten more Republican since 2016. It's indisputable. If they had a 300,000 registration edge and Ron DeSantis and Rick Scott drove turnout to R+5, it is more than reasonable that this electorate will be R+5. In fact, the only way the Change poll for CNBC, the only way the Monmouth poll for Monmouth, the only way they get to Biden plus anything is by D+7 and D+5 respectively in those polls. That is not going to happen. It's not. All right. And it used to matter. Again, it's like another example of these like very rule of thumb, highly predictive metrics just being tossed out because we're in the era of Donald Trump. And we all need to just walk the line because we're not really trying to accurately predict anything. We're trying to make a self-fulfilled prophecy. So if we just repeat these same things over and over again, we'll influence human behavior enough that we'll make our predictions correct.
And that word is called brainwashing.
That's
what it is.
It's an incredible cognitive bias campaign. It's exactly what it is. They're not giving you objective analysis. They're just marching and marching and hitting the drum and hitting the drum and hitting the drum. All right. I mean, this was a huge part of the conversation. Look at who's likely to vote and who is not. Of those who made it through the likely voter model, even though they self-reported that they were unlikely to vote, which was not a very large number of people, as you can clearly see. 29 responses did. Why? Because their voting history was solid. That's why. That is the only group in which Joe Biden leads. And yet 23.4% of that group are voting for Joe Biden. The only one who is getting more of the vote share in that column is Joe Jorgensen. So of the 29 responses who we kept because they're voting history, of that 29, 10 are going for Joe Jorgensen, 7 are going for Joe Biden, 4 are going for Howie Hawkins. Donald Trump's voters are the most likely to vote. You can see it's right here. And we've seen this everywhere. Everywhere. Likely to vote, meaning the odds are 50-50. Of those responses, 106 that made it in the likely voter model, Trump took 41% of them. Joe Biden took 38.2. Joe Jorgensen gets 4.4, and so on and so forth. Of those who are absolutely certain to vote, meaning voting history and self-report, Donald Trump takes 47, rounded up. Joe Biden takes 44, or 46.9 to 44.8. That's likelihood. Enthusiasm. Again, the extremely really matters here. Look at the extremely gap. Look at it. 55-43. That's bigger than the Rust Belt, if you guys remember. So my point being, what I'm doing here is two things. One, defending our projected electorate in this poll. And two, telling you that everybody else is living in a freaking la-la land. This is what they want to happen. It's not what they think, Laura, is going to happen. It's not what the data suggests is going to happen. They're just going to keep doing it in the hopes that they create this. You understand what I'm saying?
Do I? Of course I do.
Unbelievable.
I'm the cynic here.
It's unbelievable to me. Also, let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's really where I wanted to go with this because I'm crying. It's 11:30 already. We're going to take that 30-second. We'll tweet that out again. I just, folks, that kind of gap. Oh, let's go over this. Somebody, who's that? Jared sent that to me.
I think so.
NBC News, Trump is winning the voter registration battle against Biden in key states. We'll pop that up, and then we'll talk about that in a little bit when we come back. And by the way, I forgot I didn't keep myself up on there, so I thought I'd just like talking, Yeah. So we'll be back in a little bit. We'll check the survey and see how's it going. Okay. If you want to donate to the poll, it's paypal.me/People's Pundit. If you haven't already, paypal.me/People's Pundit. Incredibly generous donations. I can't believe the public polling project is working. If I knew this was going to happen, then I absolutely would have done this earlier, and I would have made it a more institutional thing. Maybe we could find a liberal polling firm that is trustworthy, and we could do something that's more institutional next time. Like, polls should not be funded by people who have a vested interest in the outcome. I really kind of envy my counterparts across the pond because they have institutional polling, which is like much different, even though their polls have been off too. There's just no doubt, but they're institutional. They're not corporate. These are corporate polling operations, and it's no bueno. No bueno. All right. All right, here we go. But that would be cool if we could find a liberal firm and do it together. That would be awesome. Because I do like the idea of what Fox News does. It's just that they really don't have everybody representing their stuff, right? So they have what is now a far more progressive firm who changed their name, all right? A far more progressive. I mean, they are not run the rest of the way. And then you have the Republican polling firm, which is not really a Republican. So look, guys, look at the crossover vote in that poll. Fox News, the people on Fox News, they represent like 4% of the Republican Party. That's it. Which is evident by his vote share in the primary. You know, that just, it doesn't make sense to have a system like this, is my point. It doesn't make sense. This should be something that who has a vested interest, the American people, you know? Yeah, I mean, at some point, Guard of Liberty, I may poll Ohio again because they're trying to say that this shift is new. It's just happening. It just happened. We polled Ohio for the Epoch Times. And then if you watch the show, after the Fox poll came out, I went out and just got another 400 responses just for the sake of seeing if they were right. It was not close. It was not close. I don't wait for party ID. If you wait for demographics correctly, then you shall get the party ID. But I did, just to prove a damn point, I waited for party ID in the Ohio poll, and it was still not close. What was the closest we got to, guys? 47-42, 46-42. That was the closest. If you guys watch that show, it was the closest I could get. And actually, I mean, well, I don't want to go through. You may be able to see if I just keep that screen up and go to other data sets. You may see other clients' data sets. Yeah, I just don't know how the hell that was possible. Anyway, real quick before we go and take that break, I did want to just show you. Here's the distribution for Florida. I keep forgetting, and I'm remembering now. So if I don't, remember, if I don't do it now, I may not remember. Look in the southwest part of the state. See where it says Cape Coral right below it. That purple. Okay, that's Collier. And then you see it's just that the way the map is geographically, they line them up in like a grid. So that far left dot, that is Monroe. Okay, so very, very important county. See how it goes. Look like Ron DeSantis and Rick Scott would, underperform and do very badly in Monroe County. But they did better than people thought. Pinellas, again, you guys can see the where it says Tampa, that Tampa Bay area. Joe Biden is leading in Hillsborough. Donald Trump lost Hillsborough by about 7 points. He's leading in Hillsborough by I think it was 10 or 12. I'd have to go and look it up. So he's doing better in places like that. So Joe Biden's doing better in places like Hillsborough. However, Pinellas Hills and all those other areas, Trump had a lead. It's just that there are a lot of votes in Hillsborough. So expanding the margin like that helps Biden quite a bit in the Tampa Bay area. And that's why you see it's about even in the Tampa Bay area. All right, Joe Biden, I think, has like a 1 or 2 point edge. That's Hillsborough, offsetting Pasco and Pinellas. That's what we consider the Tampa Bay area. Okay, those 3 counties. And then Duval, up where Jacksonville is, you can clearly see we got a lot of distribution in Jacksonville. I will tell you when we come back from the break what it was in Jacksonville, which is Duval County, which Joe Biden and the media have pushed the idea that he could flip. It was very close in 2016. It's just Republican leaning. But I will tell you when we come back what the margin was in Duval County. All right. So hang tight. You're watching Inside the Numbers with the People's Pundit. Follow me on Twitter right there at Peoples_Pundit. We'll be right back after this quick little 30-second break. All right, we're back. All right. So in 2016, Trump carried Duval County by a few points. Excuse me. Just a few points. That is in the northeastern region of Florida, which you see up there where Jacksonville is. Okay. And this poll found Donald Trump actually had a lead in the Jacksonville area. So he was running about 4 to 6 points ahead, give or take, roughly, from what I remember. Looking at it, and I'll look at it again right now just to make sure. Hold on one second. Advanced filter. Let me edge that up. Put in Jacksonville area. And I'll tell you exactly how many responses we did get out of there. I mean, not all of them obviously made it, but all right. In the Jacksonville area, about 111 responses, right? So if I don't, excuse me, if it's just a raw, it's 50% for Donald Trump, Joe Biden, 46.4. So actually I was wrong. Is there an enthusiasm thing in here or something? Nope. Certain, likely to vote, unlikely to vote, extremely, moderately. Let me throw all this in there and then see what it is. Okay. So Trump was carrying that area. It tightened a little bit when I added the less likely voters. It tightens to 3.8%. So, again, roughly that same thing. DeSantis lost Duval County. Newsflash. Ron DeSantis lost Duval County. All right. And he still won the election. It can happen. But I do want to pivot real quick to this thing that Jared sent because it is important. And of course, Wasserman poo-pooed it. Dave Wasserman is not an analyst, okay? Dave Wasserman says what he wants to happen, all right? I had to, he blocked Barnes for Barnes simply throwing data at him that disproved his threat. That's all. I mean, he just blocked him. That's not analysis. Analysis is when you say, damn, maybe I'm missing something and I'm wrong, right? Like there's no doubt. Like me saying there's no doubt Joe Biden is doing better in Hillsborough County. He could do better than than Barack Obama did in Hillsborough County. All right. So that's what analysis is. When you assume something or you make a hypothesis based on the best data that you have in front of you, but then you collect newer data and you realize you're wrong and you say you're wrong. That's analysis. And with him, he went on and on about Pinellas County. And he's like, Donald Trump can't win without Pinellas County. This is the guy who kept telling you that Hillsborough was the bellwether until just last year. They just realized that Pinellas County was the bellwether in 2016, not Hillsborough. They just realized that. And now they're just realizing that Pinellas County, you can actually lose as a Republican candidate and still carry the county. The state. They're just telling you what they want to happen. That is not analysis. All right. Now, again, Florida, always a close election. But from what we see and have gathered, it's Trump by 2 right now, which is our best guess. All right. Not best guess. That's what we got. And it's possible it could be a little less. It's possible it could be a little bit more. Sampling error is 3.1. So, yeah, I suppose it's possible Joe Biden can win. But you can't win if you can't, make serious gains in the Tampa Bay area to offset how well Republicans are now doing in certain parts of the state. In Lee, in Collier, tons of votes coming out of there. Hernando, the margins expanding. Tons of votes coming out of these areas. The Atlantic coast. Trump doing as well as he was doing in Orlando. It's not, it's highly more likely that he is incredible. And the thing is, Republicans used to just have to rely on that turnout differential. And Democrats had this wealth of registration edge to be able to tap this pool, this wealth of voters, this pool of voters. 500,000, 800,000. It's 180,000. Where are they going to find them from? Andrew Gillum couldn't have squeezed any more votes out of Broward County, guys, for a 2018 midterm election. Broward County is one of the few that went over 2016 levels. You just can't squeeze that much out. There's nowhere else to get them from. Okay. So that's my point. I mean, where are they coming from? All right. Trump is winning the voter registration battle against Biden in key states, and this is a hedge in the subtitle. It may not be enough to erase the former vice president's polling lead, but could boost the president if the race tightens. That is indeed true. All right. In the last few weeks, Joe Biden has led President Donald Trump by a fairly consistent 8-point average in national polls. Actually, the national polling average has tightened by 5 points in the last month. All right. And in maintain a lead in more than enough battleground states to win the Electoral College, including Arizona, which I think we all see now is shifting towards Trump, albeit by a narrow margin. All right. Which I would like to poll. So if Arizona wins, great for Arizona. All right. I don't want to say anything that, I'd love to poll them all. So don't listen to me. All right. Just do you guys vote on which ones you want to vote. I don't want to sway it either way. But when we do decide on which one we're going to go with, you guys decide. I will give you my 2 cents on it. All right. Including Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. All states Trump won in 2016. Tell you what, guys, and I have told you, I think Wisconsin's a hard lift. Unless we see what happened in 2016 happen again within 2 weeks from now. It has to be, we're coming down to the home stretch here. But it was the home stretch in 2016. It didn't happen for him in Wisconsin. He abandoned the state. He stopped visiting because he was told we're probably not going to win Wisconsin. So they stopped campaigning in Wisconsin and just hammered Michigan and Pennsylvania. And in fact, that was one of the bigger misses. All right. And including Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. All states Trump won in 2016. But there are signs Trump's ground operation is paying off when it comes to registering new voters in key states, an advantage that could be important if the race tightens before November 3rd. I think this is a fair assessment of the race. So there are enough Rust Belt states that Trump is in a lot of trouble. There are where Biden has. And then we have this mail. It's really with me. My gut is telling me that if this was just a normal election, Trump would win this normal election. That's what my gut is telling me. The enthusiasm is too much. Pollsters, their problem is determining the electorate. They're getting worse at it. So it stands to reason. It stands to reason that the polling misses will grow. And in fact, they have grown. They have grown. Not a single media or university poll predicted Mike DeWine would win Ohio. Not a single media or university poll predicted Ron DeSantis would win Florida. They're getting worse. At least in 2016, some polls had them. Not in Michigan and Pennsylvania, outside of Trafalgar. Susquehanna did show a close race, but nevertheless, it was their last one was Hillary +2. A respectable, decent result, by the way.
Yes.
But a state Trump won by 1 point. But there are signs Trump grounds operation could pay off. That, like I said, decent, respectable. The Trump campaign has boasted that it knocks on more than $1 million a week, a claim that's impossible to independently verify. In sharp contrast, the Biden campaign has ditched the ground game for virtual outreach, citing COVID-19 concerns, even though academic research has routinely concluded door-to-door canvassing, quote, is the most effective and efficient method of voter mobilization. That's absolutely true. Door-to-door outreach is the most effective get out the vote operation, and it's not even close.
It shows effort.
It shows effort. It shows personal attention and interest. Yes, and then also too, it's much harder to tell somebody, come on, you're not, you're on our list. You still haven't voted. Get out, get out, get out. It's much harder to deny someone who's standing right in front of you. All right, now. The COVID-19 concerns, that's bull. They ditched the ground game for virtual outreach citing COVID-19. That's bull crap. They ditched the ground game because they relied on the media. I told you how this guys would play out. I told you. If we went down this road, quasi-election, nothing but Trump hate, rely on the media to tell the story about Joe Biden, hide him in the basement. We knew this already, guys. We knew this already. They are so full of crap, virtual outreach. They're not doing any outreach. It's nonsense, not real outreach. As the deadline approaches, new data from the past few months, no new data from the last 4 years. show that Republicans have swamped Democrats in adding new voters on the rolls. A dramatic GOP improvement over 2016, even if new registrations have lagged 2016 rates across the board. It's a sign that in a pandemic, Democrats are struggling to seize traditional opportunities to pad their margins, such as the return of students to college campuses. I hate to tell you guys, but does any of this sound familiar to you? Of the 6 states Trump won by less than 5 points in 2016, 4, Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, permit voters to register by party. In all 4 states, voter registration trends are more robust for the Republicans than 4 years ago. We're working on a story that mimics this one right now, unfortunately. Damn it. They do this to us. We did Florida first. In Florida, Republicans added a net 195,652 registered voters between this March's presidential primary and the end of August, while Democrats have only added 98,362 and other voters increased 69,848. During the same period in 2016, Republicans added a net 182,000 registrants, Democrats 163,000, and others 71,000. In 2016, Trump prevailed in Florida by just 112,911 votes. Just 112,000. Even in heavily blue Miami-Dade, where Hillary Clinton beat Trump by 29 points in 2016, Republicans added a net 22,986 additional voter new registrations between March and the end of August, compared to just 11,142 for Democrats. Guys, that is that time period between March and the end of August. We are telling you that we have been watching that for years now. Years. What is going on here is really a little bit more simple. Democrats generally, which is why you see some of these like frauds on Twitter start in like July from June, and Barnes and I whacked that guy. We chased him right to the ends of banished Twitterville. Got a blue check with 3,000 followers. Why? Because he purports to be a political analyst and he's a lefty. That's it. We chased him to the end of the Twitter universe. He used June as a baseline and couldn't even find very many states, but it didn't matter because, and he was talking about Pennsylvania. That doesn't matter. Democrats have a surge in the summer leading up to elections. They always do. They don't this year. But what matters is the baseline is the last election. The baseline is not the month you arbitrarily pick because it helps your side. That is very dishonest. You're not an analyst. You're a total hack. Trump won the state in 2016. What has happened in the state since 2016? That is what matters. And in Miami, this problem for Democrats started long before COVID. Long before COVID, as you know, if you are a follower of mine on Twitter or a show watcher. All right? I may even still, by the way, while we're going over this, I don't, but you guys have seen it, the graph. I was hoping I had the graph loaded up. But you guys, you've seen it now a million times. Florida has been a problem for a while for them. Yes, it's always close, but it has been a problem for a while. It is not because of COVID. Barack Obama had a registration edge of nearly 600,000 when he barely held on by less than 70,000 votes. He had a registration edge of 700,000 when he won it by 2 points, 2.8 points. I mean, this is just nonsense. That's why we put up graphs. The trend line is the trend line. And then you always see this like little surge. Both parties will, but Democrats outpace Republicans in the summer and the fall leading up to the election. And that is because they have students that they muster. They literally grab their hand and run them out there.
There are buses.
And they can't, there's busing that musters them up. Absolutely. They set the tables out in the common areas in the universities, but they can't do that this time. So they can't get it down. They can't fix it. The registration edge for DeSantis was almost 300,000 when he won. And he lost independents. But the differential was still so strong, they offset it. For Trump, it was, like I said, Barack Obama is the only president a Democratic president to win the state of Florida with a registration edge he has the most narrow one, 558,272. No president on the Democratic side has ever won a statewide race in Florida, carried the state with less than that. All right. So there you have it. So I get what they're saying, but they're arbitrarily, it looks actually worse. They're using from March to August, but if you look at the last 4 years, it's actually worse. All right. Same Pennsylvania, and you know this from Pennsylvania that we've gone over to. In Pennsylvania, Republicans added a net 135,619 voters between this June's primary and the final week of September. Democrats have added just 57,000, or 58, just under 58, round up. And other voters increased by 50. Independents are gaining by almost the same amount as Democrats in the state of Pennsylvania. Between the April 2016 primary and the November 2016 general election, Republicans added 170,016 registrants. Democrats added 155,000, and others 118,000. That fall, Trump won the state by just 44,292. So to put this in a different light, Republicans are roughly pacing their 2016 gains as a rate, and Democrats are only about a third. If pro-GOP trend since 2016, the pro-GOP trend since 2016 is also apparent. If less dramatic, it's not dramatic, less dramatic in North Carolina. I mean, it is, but I'll explain why North Carolina is a little bit worse than you might think. All right. If less dramatic in Arizona and North Carolina, two Sun Belt states, Democrats have high hopes of flipping blue. In North Carolina, Republicans added a net 83,785 voters between this March's presidential primary and the final week of September, while Democrats added only 38,000, and other voters jumped 100,000. During the same period, they'll need those other voters. They will need them. During the same period in 2016, Republicans added 54,157 registrants, and Democrats added 38,931. And other voters were 140,000. In 2016, Trump carried North Carolina, they don't want to say the percentage in this one, by 173,315 votes, roughly 3 point and change. Okay. In Arizona, Democrats out-registered Republicans 31,029 on a net basis between the March and August, but compared to Democrats topping 66 to 53 in the same period in 2016. So in other words, barely. It was about even. The data doesn't include new registrants from the late August to September, and we do know some of that because you saw when I opened up the voter file. The deadline is October 5th, so we will see very soon. But in fact, Republicans did out-register Democrats in Maricopa County. That is why when I opened up the voter file, I was like, oh, what happened to R+4? It's now almost R+5. That's why. All right?
Sorry.
And our voter file updates faster in most states. It actually updates quicker. All right? It's different because it's a different source. All right? Now, to be sure, it can be hazardous to draw conclusions from voter registration statistics. For example, the youngest voters both overwhelmingly dislike Trump and increasingly choose not to affiliate with either major party. Yes, it is hazardous, which is why I have told everyone for years that North Carolina, the way you poll the state, is incorrect. At the presidential level, there are still an enormous number of Democrats who will say they're Democrats because they're old, white, ancestral Democrats, but they vote Republican at the presidential level. But they're also why Roy Cooper can win in a governor race. That's why Democrats have been able to hold statewide offices, local elections, very different voting behavior from these voters. So when you see a Nate Cohen poll in Siena, Biden +1, and you look in and it says the crossover vote is more like 8% Republican voting for Biden and 4% voting for Donald Trump of the Democrats. That tells you everything you need to know about who he reached in that poll. He missed the South. Well, maybe they're underrepresented, the southern and western parts of the state. They tend to focus on the triangle, Wade, right?
And that's the problem we had in 2014, where Tom Tillis didn't lead in a single poll. Kay Hagan's lead was upward of 15 points in the final week. They all started to herd to a respectable +7, +5, 1 +2, I think. And the only Tillis poll was a Republican pollster. It was Harper Polling that had Tillis +2 or 3, which was widely mocked in the media for being a partisan poll that was against the grain of what the vast consensus of polls were showing. And in 2016, Nate himself had a Hillary +6 in North Carolina. It was never Hillary +6. And in fact, we polled North Carolina a few times. One hot minute here. Bear with me, folks. I got to prove this damn point. And I know we're running out of time, so I'll try to be as quick as I can. All right. I don't want the overall review. What I want is the track of it. There's Colorado, there's Florida, Michigan, New Hampshire, Nevada, North Carolina. Okay? Yeah, never. October, Trump +3. November 1st, Trump +4. November 6th, Trump +3. I mean, never. And by the way, very close when you look at the decimals, which I could tweet out if you'd like. So there we go. Yeah, that is the Epoch Times is me. So in registered voters in the Rust Belt, that is the case in overall registered voters. All right. In the likely voter sample, it tightened quite a bit. The problem for Trump is that he won the sample that we were polling. He won that group by about 2.5 points. I'm talking about those 6 states. When you add them together, that the sampling design of the Rust Belt poll, Trump won it by 2.5%. So he was lagging. Even in the likely voter, he was still lagging. All right. And a lot of that came from a much bigger lead for Joe Biden in Wisconsin. All right. In North Carolina, we know that. We got that in Arizona, to be sure, right? So the bottom line is today, Trump's voter registration edge alone wouldn't be nearly sufficient to offset the leads Biden is posting in polls of Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and probably Arizona. That's not true. And they said probably. And it probably isn't true in Pennsylvania. But if the race tightens or there's a substantial polling error, Trump's superior base growth could make a difference in a few tight states and call into question why the Biden campaign chose to forego hitting the streets. I mean, that's it, folks. That's it. In a nutshell. You know what? For NBC News, not bad. Honestly, not bad. That was overall a generally a fair assessment of the race. All right. Yes. Lior, you're absolutely right. If you look at the history of this, they usually gain in the Midwest toward the end. Yes. Look at the 2016 exit polls at the question, when did you decide for whom to vote? Huge gap for Trump. And by the way, Lior, I will say this. We're not the only ones. If you look at the tip poll for the Federalist, Trump is winning. Undecideds, if you lean them 3-1. Which way are you leaning? 2-1, 3-1, Trump. Big gap. So there could be a herd at the last minute. And that herd will get Biden to like +4. It'll look a lot like Hillary. It won't be enough in the state of Florida. It won't be enough. He will overtake it. And we'll know about Florida sooner than we'll know about places like Pennsylvania. All right? And
Do you think the polling average still matters as much, in your opinion?
No. Look, I like the guys at RCP. I think they've been a little bit unfair to me. All right? That's number one. A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're afraid to go against the grain. That's number one. But you can't, it used to be that there was more value in it. You cannot compare apples to oranges, folks. All right? It's not the day of Gallup and then the media polls doing everything Gallup does. Same way. Everyone has different methodologies. As you guys know, if you watch Inside the Numbers and you're frequent watchers, that each mode has their benefits and they have their drawbacks. Different voters respond to different modes of collection at different rates. It is not valid to compare Morning Consult to Fox News. And I did try to explain this to Crystal Ball on Hill TV. That isn't what a polling average is supposed to do. It is not supposed to iron out the differences between polling methodologies. It's supposed to iron out the differences between sampling errors, but within the same methodologies. It has no value. Break everybody's little world and mind right now. Morning Consult, Reuters, YouGov. It's impossible to calculate a margin of error for their polling methods. It's much more accurate to say sampling error. They don't have a margin of error. They're an internet poll.
Mind blown.
There's no such thing as margin of error for their polling methodologies. They should have confidence intervals and sampling errors. That's totally different for a truly random poll supposedly conducted by outlets like Quinnipiac and Fox News. Quinnipiac is still random digital dial. It's archaic. It's horrible. They don't verify anything. That's why they are among the worst polls, the biggest joke. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at them. And then the only thing worse than a polling average at this point that compares different methodologies is a slime ball who makes his own unskew the poll, pretending it's a mathematical equation to make his own average.
No.
I'm even questioning whether the guy's a statistician at this point.
No.
I'm talking about he's not a pollster. He has no idea what he's talking about.
He's a fictional writer.
But this idea like, oh well, this poll is Trump down by 2. We're going to adjust it to down by 6 because I have some neat little equation that I don't want to share with you. But this, just trust me when I say this pollster is off by 4 points, so that's it. I mean, it's just nuts. It's just nuts, so we'll get there when we have, I had my house phone. My wife uses for a business fax forward to myself. I've been polled 3 times last month. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're getting, that's actually not good because that could lead to what's called fatigue. All right. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let me send out this thing one more time before we go. All right. Here's the link. If you guys have not voted in which state you would like to see polled. All right. Yeah, we got Trump's approval 50.5 or something in Florida. There is no doubt that some of the polls picking up a lag in his vote share with his vote approval is true. And what Barnes and I were talking about on one of the odds yesterday was the potential likelihood. It's possible, since the history shows incumbents outperform their approval rating, then it is possible that Donald Trump's, that disparity, and that this is really like a historic first, that disparity is people who there's a bias. There's a social bias there because we have a 5-point difference. Is it at least somewhat plausible that 2 to 3% is a social bias? That's it, So Dylan, that would be like if every single person, just to answer Dylan's question, that would be like if every single voter in the Rust Belt voted, then Biden would have a 6-point lead. The reason why it tightens so much with the likely voter model is because his voters are not, they don't, when you ask them how certain they are, how likely they are not at all likely. They are far less likely to self-report, and their record shows that they are certain to vote, that we can count on them to vote. And in fact, in order to get to that +6, we needed to add likely, meaning the odds are 50-50 or more, and unlikely, meaning the odds are 50 but more than 0. Okay? So when you just look at groups, for instance, that are certain to come out, and I mean certain, then Trump actually had a lead among that group in the Rust Belt poll. It's when you include everybody, because you don't want your screen to be too tight. All right. And that happened to some people in 2016. Somebody said they were absolutely going to vote, and then they looked at their voter history and maybe they didn't vote like that. But they did poll. They did, go out and vote. And they just didn't see that coming, So, yeah, if Trump was to lag his own approval rating, it would be a historic first. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying that it's at least somewhat plausible that difference between his approval rating and by the way, when you lean people like we did in the Epoch Times poll, when you lean them, Trump's approval, that gap between his approval and his vote share closes. And then look at that. It's his vote share is almost identical at that point when we lean them to his approval rating, which we found pretty important. I put that in our report, by the way, and they did not publish that for some reason. I put a whole statement up there. And it's their choice, but the bottom line is I thought that was really, really noteworthy. Thought it was really noteworthy. All right. So here, let me put this out. Vote for your preferred state to poll. All right. We'll give you guys a update tomorrow morning on Freewheeling Friday. All right. And then at this rate, you guys are raising the money pretty darn quick. So at this rate, maybe we will be able to start it and talk about the next it's Thursday. Maybe we could start this weekend, but probably next week. Probably next week. We'll see. Because I'm not going to need to build a whole new questionnaire. We already have the Rust Belt poll questionnaire. We should ask about if let's say it's Pennsylvania, we should ask about fracking. And then if it's Arizona, then there are very similar things to Florida. So wouldn't need to take that long, is what I'm saying, right?
PA is a big state.
PA is a big state, and it does take some time. Yep. And just remember from the Epoch Times poll, guys, you remember when I put up the distribution, that northern part of the state we took a while to fill in. Really did. All right, so let me kick rocks and get out of here. It's 12:08, and I'll be on One America News with Jack talking about the polling in the Rust Belt. I don't know if that's live or maybe it is. I'm not sure. I didn't ask, but you'll see it, I'm sure, on his Twitter feed, mine. And then I have some radio interviews. I'll tweet out where we're going to be. I think the next one is in Colorado, New Hampshire. I don't know. New Hampshire, we did. Denver. Yep. So one's in Denver, another one in Nashua, New Hampshire, which we did one like that in that place the other day as well. So don't forget, subscribe to People's Pundit Daily to support the show, which you can do by going to ppdnews.us/subscribe. ppdnews.us/subscribe. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. I guess Periscope. A lot of problems with Periscope. So subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit the notification bell to let you know when we go live. Okay. And then if you like the page, People's Pundit Daily, that will always tell you from Facebook Live when we are going up. All right. Best way, folks, of course, don't forget to vote, because it looks like I don't know how much longer we should let this go. Maybe we'll look at it tomorrow together on the show. That's probably the best way forward. And then if somebody hasn't voted, it gives us some time. If you can't access it and you need us to email it to you and you did not vote in it already, if you can't access it, it's probably because you're trying to vote twice. All right. Maybe. I don't know. But that'll happen if you try to vote twice. All right. So email Laura at producer@peoplespunditdaily.com and we will email it out to you. Okay. So we're going to kick rocks. We will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching Inside the Number, folks. All the best.
We love you.
How much you wanna bet that I can get you back inside your head before the summer ends and spread a little love. Just for a little fun, I'll make you come back to me before the rise of every sun. Baby, it's meant to be. I know you got a man, but he don't understand. You're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah. Rhythm in our love, it's impressive, excessive. You can't make this stuff up. My chest beats, it's restless, wakes the neighbors up above. Yeah, baby, come and show me love. Baby, come and show me love, because you're gonna be a heartbreaker. You're such a love taker. So just suck me in and you can toss me like a cigarette, 'cause I just wanna be a bad habit, yeah.
We can get on a plane and take a one-way ride, steal us away to find a place we can hide. It wouldn't take much to spear for a night, just to give in to the need and leave it all behind.
'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow me away. 'Cause I know that you know that I know that you want me. You told me, now show me, come blow